Welcome to this rather unusual Herd Service Wheel Trouble podcast. I'm Wheel Trouble, and this is the first non-solicited herd-focused cast for those who missed Nightmare Nights. Why am I doing this? In years past, Ponyville Live has done us all a favor by uploading videos from panels at conventions all over the place. They seem to have gotten out of that business. The herd has been changing demographics a little bit, and I guess their move was part of that. There are emails where I ask them about it, but it's pretty typical fluff, so I won't go into that here. I didn't find out about any of this until after the convention, and I'm sorry about that. I do have a contribution to make, however, and it's just dumb luck that I happen to have it. My domestic supervisor was unable to make the voice actor panel, and so I tucked my cell under my chair and left it to record. I'm sharing that with you today. If any of you have copies from other panels from Nightmare Nights 2016, please let me know. I already have the Brony Problems panel. He was kind enough to upload that on his own. This year's panel consisted of Peter New, Kelly Sheridan, Brenda Critchlow, and the infamous Vincent Tong. Master of Ceremonies was the ever-popular Full Papers, and there was a surprise appearance by a shirtless Dusty Cat. I'll leave it to you to figure out where he comes into play. Without further ado, I present to you the Nightmare Nights 2016 voice actor panel.
Well, I came up with the script, and I ran it by Ralph. And I said, do the VAs need time to practice? Do they need to study the script? Or should it be a blind reading? Or what? And he said, well, what script do you have in mind? And I told him, and he kind of gave this like malicious giggle, which is always a good sign. And he says that a blind reading will really showcase his client's talents. Now, one word of explanation before we begin, and I start passing out these scripts that these poor VAs have never seen before. If you would, please, Jamie.
All right. First of all, the print on these scripts is really tiny because I wanted to give them a bit of a challenge. Second of all, there's parts of this script that are going to require some audience participation. And I'd like to invite you guys to participate as you feel comfortable doing so. We will provide you with all of the instructions that you need. You'll just have to keep your eye up here on the stage. We wrote your instructions a little bigger. So I hope you guys enjoy what we've been working on and what horrible torture we're going to put our VAs through. So please enjoy.
Welcome to perform their characters in any and all voices that they feel comfortable doing? Is that
absolutely?
Is that the story?
Now, we left some notes. This is what it is normally, but you guys have fun with it. Yeah. So, all right. Wait a minute. Very well. All right. First, Dr. Peter New. And Kelly Janet Sheridan. Can't wait for Vincent to get here so I can explain that he finally is Brad. For realsies.
While we're waiting for the others, should we do a quick little Q&A while we're hanging out? Anybody have any questions? I don't know. Bob, do you want to run in and facilitate
You have no
questioning?
idea. I'm coming to facilitate. Bama just came back to pass the Aggies.
Remember, our wonderful VAs can't answer questions about future seasons, and please keep your questions appropriate given.
I don't know why I have
all
7
ages
Sharpies
friendly.
up here. This is like...
You were sitting there.
They know. This is Larson's.
All right, so we got one question. What did you guys do for Thanksgiving last week?
Oh, I had a small Thanksgiving, just me and my daughter.
I had a giant Thanksgiving with my husband's family, and I did the usual. Ate a lot of turkey and a bunch of pumpkin pie, and my husband's parents live on the ocean on the west coast of Vancouver. So we saw orcas and humpbacks and seals and sea lions and eagles all from their living room. It was really great.
That is awesome.
It's very Canadian. Very Canadian.
I haven't
We're
even.
acknowledging Canadian things today.
Yeah, I also wished it to William Shatner, Dan Aykroyd, and Celine Dion.
Okay, great.
So, can we have the rest of the population of Canada, please?
No, that's it. That's how many of us there are.
If you'll pardon me, I will be right back.
I didn't know there were 100 Canadians.
No, we're growing. It's a growing population.
I haven't even done this yet, and I already regret it. But
Since he's not here, what is Vincent Tong really like?
He's a jerk. I mean, he's really self-centered, and, really ungenerous. You know, I mean, he's right. Like he just is always talking about himself.
I have a good Vincent story.
We're joking, of course. He's
Yeah.
fantastic.
He's awesome.
He's the loveliest guy in the world. He's very talented.
So we're doing this convention, and then we're doing Cider Fest in Milwaukee. And and speak of the devil, devil. You're just in time, because I'm just about to tell a mushy story about you, Vince. So we're here, and we're doing Cider Fest next weekend, and then we were going to just hang in Chicago in the week in between and kind of, spend the time there. And Vincent got a gig, so he had to fly back home. So he was talking about it. He goes, yeah, I'm going to miss Chicago. And then I was thinking, like, I'm really bummed. I'm going to have to take a red eye to get back to Milwaukee. I'm going to be tired. He goes, and then I thought, what am I doing? I'm going to go and hang out with ponies. That's awesome! So that's what he says when you guys aren't around. So he means it. He wants the work. But they asked us, some really annoying audience member asked, aka Mitch Larson, asked what you were like in real life.
Oh.
What you really like.
That's... I don't know. What am I like in real life? I'm just me, really. I don't think I really put anything else on, do I? People who know me? People... Andy?
Yeah. I said that, right? I said positive, really kind and generous, sweet.
Oh, you guys are so sweet. Sweet. Get this down, I can't see.
seems to have a grudge against pumpkins, though. All right. With little further ado, I feel like it is an incredibly small jump from moderator to narrator. So, oh yeah, absolutely. No Neck is like stuffed with tweed as it is. It was a natural decision. So, Foley, get us started.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
How strange was it?
It seemed a very ordinary night when Brad Majors and his fiancée Janet Weiss, two young, ordinary, healthy kids, left Denton that late November evening to visit Dr. Everett Scott, ex-tutor and now friend of both of them. It's true there were dark storm clouds, heavy, black and pendulous, toward which they were driving. It's true also that the spare tire they were carrying was badly in need of some air. But they being normal kids and on a night out, well, they were not going to let a storm spoil the events of their evening on a night out. It was a night out they were going to remember for a very long time.
Gosh, that's the third motorcyclist that passed us. They certainly take their lives in their hands, what with the weather and all.
Yes, Janet. Life's pretty cheap that way.
What's the matter, Brad, darling?
I think we took the wrong fork a few miles back.
Oh dear. But then where did the motorcyclist come from?
Well, I guess we will have to turn back.
What was that bang?
Huh, we must have a blowout.
Oh.
You better sit here and keep warm while I go for help.
But where will you go? We're in the middle of nowhere.
Didn't we pass a castle back down the road a few miles? Maybe they have a telephone I might use.
I'm coming with you.
There's no point both of us getting wet.
I'm coming with you. Besides, darling, the owner of the phone might be a beautiful woman, and you may never come back.
That's thunder.
There's a light.
Oh, this is me? This is
This is us too, I guess.
Over
at the
Frankenstein
Palace.
That place.
Palace. I don't know this movie at all.
There's a light burning in the fireplace.
And so it seemed that fortune had smiled on Brad and Janet and that they had found the assistance that their plight required. Or had they?
Sound effects for Vincent Tom. Oh, Brad, let's go back. I'm cold and I'm frightened.
Just a moment, Jack. They even have a telephone.
Hello.
Hi. My name is Brad Majors, and this is my fiancée, Janet Weiss. I wondered if you could help us out. Our car has broken down about 2 miles up the road. Do you have a telephone we might use that kind of works?
You're wet.
Yes, the rain has been very heavy.
Yes.
Yes. I think you had better both come inside.
Oh, you're too kind. Oh, Brad, I'm frightened. What kind of place is this?
Oh, it's probably some kind of hunting lodge for rich weirdos.
This way.
Are you giving a party, like Pinkie Pie, by any chance?
No, you arrived on a rather special night. It's one of the master's affairs.
Oh, lucky him.
He's lucky. Well, you're lucky, I'm lucky, we're all lucky.
I don't know if there's going to be musical accompaniment for this or not.
We don't know either.
It's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes its toll. But listen closely. Not for very much longer. I've got to keep control. I remember doing the time warp, drinking those moments when the blackness would hit me, and I don't know the melody, and void would be calling.
Let's do the time warp again.
We're already halfway there. Do you want me to just play the song?
I'm trying to get down this.
Moving right along.
Where are we?
We're still halfway through the time warp.
Just step to the right.
With your hands on your hips, etc., etc. Let's do the time warp again and see.
Good job. Very organized. 47, interior, bandstand night. Columbia says.
It's Columbia.
What is that?
Columbia.
Are we done with the time warp?
I think we're done. We're going to skip the time warp.
Columbia.
All that. So what number are you on? What number are you on? 45. 45! Ballroom nights. All guests have hands on. That's still the time warp, you bastard! That's what I said, 47!
This is what happens in studio, oh my gosh.
It does.
Cut to 53, I think.
This is a cold read. Right?
That's on track. Take two, and rolling.
Okay, hold on.
Let's have number 53, please.
Yeah,
53.
oh no, we're 47?
53.
Oh, that's me!
Dude, they were professional.
That time warp is long. Okay. We have that on track. Okay. Oh, say something.
Say, do any of you guys know the Madison?
Brad, please, let's get out of here.
For God's sakes, keep a grip on yourself, Janet.
It seems so unhealthy here.
It's just a party, Janet.
Well, I want to leave.
We can't go anywhere until I get a phone.
Then ask the butler or someone.
Let's wait a while, Janet. We don't want to interfere with their celebrations.
This isn't the Junior Chamber of Commerce, Brad.
Oh, they're probably foreigners with ways different from our own. They may do some more folk dancing.
Brad, I'm cold, I'm wet, and plain scared.
I'm here. There's nothing to worry about. Shh.
How do you do? I met my faithful handyman. He's a little brought down because when you knocked, he thought you were the Candyman. Don't get struck out by the way that I look. Don't judge a book by its cover. I'm not much of a man by the light of day, but by night, I'm one hell of a lover. I'm just a sweet transvestite. Transsexual Transylvania. Let me show you around. Maybe play with sound. You look like you're both pretty groovy. Or if you want something visual, not too abysmal, we could take in an old Steve Reeves movie.
I'm glad we caught you at home. Could we use your phone? We're both in a bit of a hurry.
Right.
We'll just say where we are and then go back to the car. We don't want to be any worry.
You got caught with a flat. Well, how about that? Well, babies, don't you panic. By the light of the night, it'll seem all right. I'll get you a satanic mechanic. I'm just a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. Why don't you stay for the night?
Night. Maybe a bite.
Maybe a
Why, I can tell you my favorite obsession. I've been making a man with blonde hair and a tan, and he's good for relieving my tension. I'm just a sweet etc. from etc. So come up to the lab and see what's on the swab. I see you shiver with anticipation. But maybe the rain is really to blame, so I'll just remove the cause, but not the symptom.
Okay, all right. Slowly. It's too nice a job to rush.
Oh, Brad.
It's all right, Janet. We'll play along for now and pull out the aces when the time is right. Hi. My name is Brad Majors, and this is my fiancée, Janet Weiss. You are...
Well, you are very lucky to be invited up to Frank's laboratory. Some people would give their right arm for the privilege.
People like you, maybe?
I've seen it.
Frank, is he your husband?
The master is not yet married, nor do I think he ever will be. We are simply his servants.
Oh.
Magenta, Columbia, go and assist with Brad. I will entertain.
I am Brad Majors, and this is my fiancée, Janet Weiss. Weiss.
Enchanté, nice. And what charming underclothes you both have. But here, put these on. They'll make you feel less vulnerable. It's not often we receive visitors here, let alone offer them hospitality.
Hospitality? All we wanted to do was use your telephone. A reasonable request which you have chosen to ignore.
Don't be ungrateful, Brad.
Ungrateful?
How forceful you are, Brad! Wow! Such a perfect specimen of manhood, so dominant. You must be awfully proud of him, Janet.
Well, yes, I am.
Do you have any tattoos, Brad?
Certainly not.
Oh, well, how about you?
Everything is in readiness, master. We merely await your word.
Tonight, 111. Did you hear me at the back?
Yeah.
Tonight, my unconventional conventionists. Tonight, you are to witness a breakthrough in biomedical research. Paradise is to be mine. It was strange the way it happened. One of those quirks of fate, really. One of those moments when you seem irredeemably lost. You panic, you're trapped, your back's against the wall, and there's no way out, and then suddenly you get a break. All all the places seem to fit into place. Pieces seem to fit into place. What a sucker you've been. What a fool. The answer was there all the time. It took a small accident to make it happen. An accident.
An accident?
That's how I discovered the secret. That elusive ingredient, that spark that is the breath of life. You see, Brad and Janet, you are fortunate, for tonight is the night that my beautiful creature is destined to be born. Throw open the switches on the sonic oscillator and step up the reactor power input 3 more points!
Brad!
It's all right, Janet.
Tall drink of water, I tell you what.
Lost now.
Everyone's lost their place. We don't even know where we are.
Rocky needed peace of mind. We're skipping a scene, I think here. Rocky needed peace of mind. He didn't know he was doing just fine. He was the product of another time. And as for feeling down, well, that's not crime.
Oh, that's no way to behave on your first day out. But as you're such an exceptional beauty, Rocky, I'm prepared to forgive. I just love success.
Here's a credit to your genius, Master.
Yes.
Oh, yes, well, a triumph of your will.
Yes.
He's okay.
Okay. I think we can do a little better than that. You! What do you think?
Well, I don't like men with too many muscles.
You! He carries the Charles Atlas seal of approval, and he didn't even take the lessons. All right, guys. Thank you for your patience. I was busy trying to explode the text and got wrapped up by the copy machine. Thank you guys for hopefully enjoying their blind read and for Peter's all new take on Frankenfurter. I heard that I think it was Fox or CBS just recently did a new release of, and they lost out, man. But as of now, we're going to turn over the VAs to you guys and open the floor up for questions.
Another huge round of applause for all of our voice actors. And of course, the fabulous half-naked man with Tony in the world, Mr. Mustard Cat.
I don't know how you all do that. That's really bravo. All right. Where is Mr. Mando Pony? There he is. He has volunteered very kindly to hand out the note cards and pencils if anyone else wants to volunteer. If you weren't here at this morning's panel, this is how we do questions here. If you just write down your question on the note card, hold it up so it can be grabbed by one of our volunteers. They will bring it up here. I will shuffle them around and we will get some answers from these VAs.
We just so y'all know that we can't answer any questions about future episodes or anything, so don't ask.
Well, you can ask, but we won't.
Yeah.
Who's seen the season 6 finale today? Or actually, I should ask who has not seen it and is scared about spoilers.
So yeah, let's
Okay. Good to know. Noted.
let's keep the spoilers. Let's keep the spoilers out. Let's keep the questions appropriate and child friendly. And if it's a question from a kid, and you could note that on the card, that would be excellent. We like to give them priority. This is the honour system, so we'll trust that no one's going to pretend to be a child. In the meantime, how are you all doing? That's a terrible question to start with. Are you all having fun?
Yeah. Horrible for you. Having a good time?
All right, this is a good start. This is a good question. So you're going to start off. One of the favourite scenes that you've performed and why? Favourite scene from MLP and why was your favourite to record or to perform?
I think mine is an easy one. It's really it's the entire episode, but it's the moment with Apple Bloom at the end of Brotherhood's Social.
You all like that? You all saw that episode, right?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think my favorite so far has been the Say Goodbye to the Holidays song. It was a big challenge, and I'm so proud of how it turned out. So it's a scene. That counts as a scene, right? Yeah, sing that song. That was fun. That was really good. Yeah.
Favorite scene. Poison joke. We had a wonderful actor come in. His name is Blue Man Kuma, and anyway, he switched to. Who did he switch with? Yeah, but it was hilarious. We had a fun time recording that episode. It was a lot of laughter.
I haven't done as many episodes as these guys have, but a great memory for me was doing the first Equestria Girls movie. And when we had, because the guys had very few lines, so they kind of bunched us all together. So I didn't record with the girls actually for the movie. And I remember Peter was right next to me, which is always a bad situation, because he just stared at me the whole time when I'm trying to deliver these words of flirtation towards Twilight. And with Peter just looking at me like this, literally like this far away from me, just looking at me. It was very, very difficult to keep a straight face. I don't know if you remember that. Exactly. There you go. It's just uncomfortable.
The first Equestria Girls movie, I only had like one yup and then a little like talking dog moment. I forget what I had to say, but just one, I had 2 lines. So I looked through the script and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'll be able to handle that. I know that context. I don't need to read the whole thing, so I'll just pop in, do my lines at home. That was that. A few months later, I saw like this picture online of like weird human-looking ponies, and they were saying like, oh, Hasbro's gonna do this thing. And I was like, no, they're not. It's not. It's some fan thing. It's not happening. And then I found out that was actually you. That's what I'd already done it. I had no idea.
Thank you for that. That actually segues nicely into the next question. The funniest or weirdest thing that's happened while recording an episode?
One time I worked with Tabitha.
You just can't talk about it.
Well, okay. I can just say sometimes I feel like I'm at a ping pong match because we record sometimes say 9 o'clock in the morning till 1, and then pickups and things happen after that. So sometimes you roll on in your pajamas, just about, you're not quite awake, and there are a couple of guests who can, I don't know, you talk about improv. They can toss improvs and accents at the speed of light, and you feel like you're standing still, and they're like, well, you got that? No, yeah, boy, you see him going around corners. Everybody's warming up, like, And then, all right, episode 1 of that, scene 3, and then there's silence. So that would be the funniest opener in the morning. It's just standing still and watching all the zingers go by.
Yeah. I did this one show called Packages from Planet X, and my character, Dan Zambrowski, had to burp the alphabet, and I'm pretty good at burping. But when, you get a bit stage fright, and you get a little performance anxiety, and it just doesn't happen. And you're just trying your hardest, I'm gonna be like, I got nothing, and then all of a sudden I went, I think I said D, because we were missing, how do you say A, B, C, D, and I got up to C, and I was like, D! And I was like, did you get it? And everyone behind the glass, because they don't have the button on, they're like, yes! I'm like, man, how often do you get praise for burping? I love my job, it's so good.
I once did an episode. I came in and I didn't eat enough before I arrived. So before our break, the first 2 hours of the day, my stomach gradually started to growl. And you're trying to do anything you can to make it not make noise, because the mics are very sensitive. And I'm standing next to Michelle Krieger, and she just keeps, the longer it goes, she's giving me this, filthy eye. And then we have the break, and I'm like, okay, thank goodness. And it was one of the days Tabitha was there. Tabitha always brings, a baked good of some kind. So today's was bundt cake, chocolate bundt cake. So I went out and horfed all this bundt cake into my mouth to satisfy that. I'm like, okay, good, my stomach won't growl. We went back in, and now it's like, you have gas. So they actually recorded me out. They were like, no, Peter, let's do your lines and you leave. Please get out. Your stomach is too loud.
You know what? That's true.
Peter likes to tell
The
us.
microphones are so sensitive. You can hear every little mouth noise, every little
I have another story now that you're kind
Now we've opened Pandora's box.
Yeah. Well, I was recording. Sorry, this is so unpony related, but it's just in the studio. We're recording Iron Man Armored Adventures, and yeah, represent. And then we're recording and sitting down. It's a pretty full house. We got 8 people in there. Someone farted, and it's so gross. But it just keeps lingering. I'm like, what is going on? And I look over, I'm like, dude's eating boiled eggs. What is that? And I'm like, I just kind of look at him, and he's like, oh, sorry. That's gonna help. He just turns 45 degrees and just keeps eating. He likes 4 boiled eggs. I can't say who it is. I'll say later. But man, I was like, yeah, I'm glad it wasn't a fart, but it still smelled good.
You talking about bun cake and Tabitha reminded me of the time, because Tabitha always brings in snacks and cookies and baked goods and goodies and cheese, and she doesn't eat any of them. So I asked her one time, oh, this is so nice of you. You come and you're so generous, you bring out all this stuff, and you never partake. Why? And and she said, a psychic told me that in a past life I was responsible for the sinking of Atlantis. So I figured I'm just making it up karmically.
I asked her once, and that was not the answer.
Yeah. She was kind of half kidding, but not. Yeah. She's great.
She's fantastic.
All right.
I've got a question for Peter here from Jacob.
Yes.
Hey Peter, it's great being a mongoose, huh? He has mongoose power.
Yes.
Not a question.
I took the Pottermore. What's your Patronus? And I got Weasel. Pretty close to mongoose. Pretty happy about that.
What have we got here? There was a fun one, I lost it. Okay, we'll go with this one then. Which do you all prefer performing, villains or goodies? Goodies or baddies?
Baddies, for me, definitely baddies. They're way more fun, they've got a lot more depth and history. There's always something behind why they're so bad and villainous.
Ditto, baddies. It's so fun. It's so indulgent.
Yeah, we were just saying that we do a show called Lolly Rock, and we played twin brother and sisters, and we were a couple of baddies, goofy baddies, but it was just hilarious. It's super fun to play with
Yeah, I mean, hopefully in your daily life you spend all this time trying to be a good person and be nice. So it's kind of fun for a couple of hours to just indulge in harmless fun pretending to be bad. It's so fun.
It is.
Let your rage out. On camera, the same thing. It's awesome to have an opportunity to play some really bad, powerful, mean women.
For me, it's not about good or bad so much as if you're good or bad, I don't mind. I really like to play either jerks or sad sacks. Those are my favorites.
This is a question from Jennifer to Kelly Sheridan. Jennifer has been an MLP fan since the 80s, and My Little Pony Tales was and is still her favourite series. She would like to know what was your experience like voicing Melody compared to your work as Starlight now, and do you still interact with any of the other My Little Pony Tales staff members? She also says, thank you for being a part of my childhood and my present.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome. Wow, thanks. That was a very different experience because that was one of the, if not the first gig I ever had. And I was a kid, and I was like 13 when we did that show, so it was amazing. I was really nervous, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm still in touch with a lot of the people who were on that show. Kiara Zani, who plays Daring Do, she was in that show, and Kathy Westluck was the musical director on that show. It was great. It was, I got to like skip school and go be a pony. But I've had a love affair with ponies since I was a kid too. That's what I was telling someone today. That's what I spent my first allowance on. When I got my first allowance, I went to the Hudson Bay Company in Canada and I got a pony. Got one of the first two ponies.
You know, that's the oldest company in North America, isn't it?
The Hudson Bay Company? Yeah, that makes sense. And actually, it's not American owned anymore, is it?
I don't know that.
I mean, Canadian owned.
It's not Canadian owned anymore. I think it's American owned.
They can't have anything nice. So it was very different. It was great.
Sorry.
Sorry,
Speaking of the earlier days, someone would like to know, for all of you, what's the cartoon that you loved growing up? And if it was rebooted, who would you audition for character-wise from that show?
Ninja Turtles. Donatello, for sure. Nice shirt. Yeah, that's mine.
Star Blazers, but I don't know what part I would go. Anybody knows Star Blazers? I know, right? The ship with the cannon and the flying through space. Very weird and amazing. I was never allowed to watch the end of it though because I had to go to school. Yeah. I've seen like the first 15 minutes of every episode.
It's not a cartoon, but mine was always the Muppets. And I would play any Muppet I could, but my favorites were always Gonzo. Like a female Gonzo, I think that would be. I'd do like a reverse Frank Oz and play all the male characters. Yeah.
Favorite shows? Oh, Wonder Woman, Tarzan, Johnny Waller. Cartoon-wise, Flintstones, Jetsons, I don't know. There was a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask you guys, because I grew up, like my childhood was in Toronto, and so no one out in Vancouver knew about Silverhawks. Does anyone know Silverhawks?
Yes!
For real? Do you guys actually know Silverhawks?
Yeah.
How about Galaxy Rangers? Yeah? For real? Because I seriously thought I was going crazy. I thought I was like the only person who knew these shows. That's awesome. I'm not crazy. Well, yeah. All right, thanks.
Actually, I quite like this question from Benny. Do you ever use your voice acting powers for evil, like taking an order at the drive-thru and using different voices?
No, I think I will now.
That's just called practicing.
For me, one time I was when I went back to Toronto and met a new group of friends, and basically I thought like this to be a new person going to the English. So one night I thought like, you gotta do that for my friend Paul, man. We're gonna go to Paul's house tonight. He's like so like gentle and super nice. You're gonna totally flip him out when you reveal at the end. So the whole night I thought like this. I was like, okay, thanks Paul for having me come here. And he's like, oh yeah, you're welcome. Do you want some spinach dip? Spinach dip. Spinach. Oh, it's like spinach and then spinach. Popeye they say the man. And he's trying to be so polite. Everyone else like, and he's like, yeah, it's spinach dip. And then it's like, do you want some Coke? Do you want some Sprite? Some root beer? Root beer. No, I don't drink beer. No. Oh, no, it's Barks. Oh, Box has bite. And he's just trying not. At the very end, some guy goes, the guy who's in on it. He was like, so Vince, do you know what gullible means? I'm like, gullible. No, I don't. Oh, do you have dictionary? And he's like, oh yeah, I got a dictionary. And I'm like, can you read definition for the? I said, yeah. Easily persuaded or duped. And I thought, like easily persuaded or duped. That's awesome. Can you pass the chips, man? And his face, it was like everyone in his face. So I tried that. It's a whole hour. Thank you.
Got a question here from Kylie. Have you done acting for video games, and if so, how is it different, if at all, from voice acting? And actually, I know it's also that some of you have done on-camera work, some of you have done stage work, so how do you approach each different genre, that's not the right word, how do you approach each different style of acting?
For me, acting is acting. It's just you're using a different part of your instrument to play the scene. For the most part, you are just, you are motivated by what you want and what are your obstacles, and you have to try and get what you want and overcome your obstacles, regardless of whether you're on stage or in a video game or in a cartoon or whatever it is. That said, though, I'd say the main difference between doing something like Ponies and doing a video game is that usually in Ponies you've got a narrative script and you're flowing through with the rest of the cast. And in a video game, a lot of it is really broken into editable segments, so that you'll just get the beginning of one sentence and then 25 different ends to that sentence, and so you end up going like, I did Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit was one of my very first jobs, and I just had this like giant list of 25, dispatch, 67, dispatch, 49, dispatch. I remember just doing that for like, I felt like an hour. And it just, you have this sheet that has all these different numbers and then the word dispatch over and over. So it's really, it's kind of like factory acting in a certain way.
Well, for me, along the lines of what Peter said, when I'm doing voiceover, it's about listening. And it doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter what you're wearing, doesn't matter what you're doing to get that sound out. The motivation, what Peter was talking about, for you to hear and to believe what I'm saying, I have to think it and try and get that in my tone, in my pacing. When I'm in front of the camera, it's about the whole physical, right? Because you're watching what I'm doing. I'm very aware of my frame, that even though the camera may be way over there, at some point they may have me this close and maybe be watching what my eyes are doing, so it's also about my thought process. So I think a little of the motivation becomes a little bit more internalized so that you believe visually what you're seeing. So it's a bit of a switch, but fundamentally it is all about making sure that you believe what you're either hearing or you're believing what you're seeing and hearing. Yeah.
Voice acting is in your throat and in your ears, and camera acting is in your eyes. And it's just moving the process into the different part of the music.
Yeah, so it's just a fuller combination of the whole thing, but yeah, the process is basically the same.
Got a question here for... I just completely lost it. Got a question here for Kelly. How was the news of Starlight's arc, I guess, delivered to you, and how did you take it, your view on Starlight's sort of redemptive journey?
I'm going to be careful, because we're trying to say the season 6, we're going to be careful. When I auditioned for the show, I had no idea where the character was going. I thought it was just one episode. And as far as I knew, when I went into recorded, grasp what was happening. And then I think Sassy Saddles maybe halfway through season 5, and Jim, who was the director at the time, I think actually it was Jason, I think both of them were directing at that time, said, oh yeah, we're going to bring her back for the finale, it's going to be great, it's going to be our big bad. And I thought, oh, that's fun, that's cool. And then I thought that was just kind of going to be it. And so we recorded that episode, and she was really clean and whatever. And then a couple months went by, and they said, okay, we want you to come back. We're recording season 6. There's going to be a bunch of stuff for her to do. Oh, okay. So it's like, you're always the last one to know. It's like, what do you say? And people assume that you go, oh no, you gotta have it all planned out. You know what's going to happen with your character for months in advance. You don't. I know what's happening from one script to the next, which is kind of fun as an actor because the character doesn't know what's going to happen to them 3 episodes down the line. So it's kind of fun that I don't either. So I don't plan ahead. She's going to be kind of integrate that into the performance. But yeah, I'm really proud of where she's at. I think I was talking to someone last night about this where I kind of think of Starlight as a recovering addict in the way. She was addicted to control and power, and she had this big epiphany, but that doesn't mean like, okay, everything's great now, it's easy. No, that's when the work happens. She has this big epiphany and decides to change, but it's not like she doesn't now have to put in the time to change her actions and to kind of prove to people that she's changed, and she relapses from time to time. And so, I don't know, I think it's kind of interesting to see what they've done with her, to see her struggle, because I think that's really relatable. I can relate to that. I think it's cool.
I think we've got some Starlight Glimmer fans in the audience here. Question here for everyone, and if any of you have follow-up questions or more questions, are there more cards circulating in the audience? If you need a card, or if you have a card that needs to be brought up, just raise your hand up and someone will hook you up. We still have the volunteers walking around. Excellent. So, a question for all of you. When you were first becoming an actor, what did you find the most surprising? What surprised you about the process?
I was surprised that I wasn't instantly famous.
What was it?
So I was surprised I wasn't instantly famous.
Yeah.
Well, because a lot of you guys were working when you were teenagers and stuff, and I was like, I was on the other side of the veil, right? Like I was looking at shows and wanted to get to be a part of it, and I had no idea how to connect, and I didn't really know anybody in the industry and anything like that. So I just had this completely fantastic and naive view of it. I just thought, you get. I remember going to an audition once for a show that went to the CBC building. Went to an audition for Neon Rider, which was some dumb show, and I had this it was just like this 2-liner part, but it was opposite the lead in the series, and I this betrays my fundamental misunderstanding of how the system worked. Because I walked into the audition room to the casting director, Sid Kozak, and I tried to get him to let me read for the lead. I genuinely did this. I did this. And then I quit acting for like 2 years.
You were bold. That's bold.
It's bold,
right?
but also
he
was just like, no. I just had a really inflated sense of myself.
Okay,
I'm glad I got over it.
Go on with your bad self. That's bold, because that just doesn't happen in an audition room. You just didn't know any better. Right?
No, I didn't. And luckily, I mean, when I picked it up again later, Sid saw me again, and we developed a working relationship. So it didn't hurt me in the end. Thank goodness. It could have.
I was surprised, like you said, I was a teenager when I started, and I was surprised at how much discipline and work and professionalism is required. I think, like I was a kid, I thought, oh, it's fun. You just show up and it's fun, which it is. It's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work, and you have to, it's a lot of preparation, and it's a lot of being told no a lot of the time, and it's a lot of stuff. So it takes a lot of, I think, kind of guts to do, or stupidity, one of the two. So that surprised me. It's like, oh, this is a job. It's a fun job, and it's something I'm passionate about, but it's something I have to take seriously as a job.
I'm going to jump in there and say, yes, the audition process. no one can prepare you for the audition process. You get used to, say, when you're in theater school or I don't know, in your personal life, people saying, great, oh, you're fantastic, wonderful, great job, oh, sweetheart. You walk into an audition, and whether it's for voice or whether it's for film and TV, you do your slate, if they require you to do so. Hi, Brenda Critchlow, Lucas Town. And you go in and do your bit, and you have sometimes a director, producer sitting in front, and they just go, thanks. Or they're running together, something, or, oh, yeah, hi, yeah, the phone. It's a different focus sometimes that happens in a room, and it's fantastic when you get that feedback right away that, great, thank you very much, and you leave. And then you didn't get the job. Or they go, thank you very much, that was great, and you get the job. So you walk this fine line, which is really surprising, because your perception of what you did, sometimes you did a really great job, and sometimes oh God, I sucked, God, I forgot my line, oh, what did I do? And sometimes you booked a part anyway, so it's a really kind of a roller coaster of stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody says yeah, because they've all been there.
Auditions are a very weird, artificial circumstance that never happens anywhere else in real life. There's like a very, not even in the room when you're working, you get the gig. Auditions they're a whole other thing. It's like constantly going on job interviews. That's the majority of our job, is trying to get a job, more so than actually working.
One thing that I did once that really eased my whole sense of the audition process was I volunteered to be, I got paid for pittance, but I did the reader job for a couple of different casting directors for on-camera stuff. And that was really neat, because then you get to see all the actors that you usually go up against coming into the room for these parts, and you get to see them be nervous, and you get to see them be underprepared, overprepared. You get to see them, how some of them claim the space, how some of them just kind of blast through it, and then how at the end of all of that, the producer or the director will go, well, I like guy 1, guy 3, guy 5, and guy 6. So any of those guys will be fine, depending on what the network says. I think my favorite is guy 6, but I'd be happy with any of the others. And you just kind of go, oh,
that
so
arbitrary.
It's got nothing to do with me. Really, it's crazy. It's really just what you look like. If you could open your mouth and say the words, it's amazing.
So, in other words, the best thing and the most surprising thing was learning to have a really tough skin, and walking into the interview, the audition, and leaving it all behind to the best of your ability as fast as you can. And it's wonderful to get to that point. It doesn't always happen, but for the most part, because there's so many factors that hinge upon you sometimes getting a job, and you're not always going to know the reason. You might be too black, too blue, too green, too in between. Oh, gee, well, something arbitrary. So you just kind of go in and do your best shot and walk out and on to the next.
Next.
As a follow-up question, so beyond perseverance and dealing with rejection in the audition process, do you have any other advice on how to start a career in voice acting? Yes.
To start a career in voice acting, act. Get out and act. My first advice to anybody is always put yourself on a stage, see how an audience reacts to you. You got to learn how to act to be a voice actor. It's not about voices, it's about acting.
For voice acting in particular, practice reading out loud.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that a lot of people don't do, but that's what we do all day long, and you have to kind of be comfortable speed reading and sight reading and
yeah. How much time did we have to look at this script today?
Zero time.
Zero time.
Zero time.
And I don't know if you guys can see how tiny this font is, right? And how many stumbles did we really have?
I had all of them.
A few, not a lot,
Yeah, so that's just what you do. You read out loud all the time.
Yeah, training. What do you say? I think if you can, jump into a workshop. And then the other thing too, especially for voice, your voice is unique. So take that which you have that is your gift, and start recording some of your give some of your characters that you have that live inside of you a name. Give them a line to say. You would be surprised at all the characters that live inside your head and the range as well. So for voice practice, and if you're going into film and television, again, jump into a class and see if this is something that you see yourself doing, which in essence is being a storyteller. So if you're okay to put some of your emotions out there, right?
Yeah.
And just improv and be able to laugh, be able to cry, be able to rage. It's about your emotions. If you can do all of that and feel comfortable doing all of that, then this is an industry that you could jump into for sure.
Next.
We have an unsigned image here of Big Frank. You can see that very well, but that's for you, Peter.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, that's great. Who did this? Big Frank. Thank you very much.
Nice. Well done.
And I believe Bob Carr has a message for us.
I do apologize for interrupting before we get to the last couple of questions, but I was told I had to, and you'll understand why. There was no name on this, but it is for Peter. Peter, what do you really think of Jen Blake?
Really? There's no name on that?
No signature was found, sir.
So who do you think wrote it?
I don't know, someone backstage.
Ashley Ball must have written it. What do I really think of Jen Blake? I think Jen Blake is actually one of the sweetest and kindest people that I know. I think there's a lot of sass, and I think a lot of it might be a bit of a mask, but I think for the most part she's a delight.
Thank you, Peter, for sending both of
I will
us.
get you your $200 later.
All right, I got time for a couple more, I reckon.
Yeah.
Before Zyro turns out all the lights and set up for the concert, because he's kind of probably on the verge.
Question for, I'm going to make this for everyone. Do you speak any other languages, and how does that affect your voice acting?
I speak a bit of Spanish. I live in Spain for a little bit, but I don't think I've ever had a chance to use it in a show. Yeah, I don't think so.
I've also studied Spanish and a little Italian by ear, and I'm half Jamaican, half Trinidadian, so sometimes, and they speak English on the islands, but sometimes a little bit of an accent apparently creeps in, and I have the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. Does that make sense? So I've been told I'm pronouncing something kind of funny, and it's hard sometimes for me to hear it, but yes, so sometimes the Jamaican pops in there a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Or Trinidadian, depending on which side.
I speak English. No, but for real, I actually do speak Chinese. And I was like smiling at Ralph, my agent, because we got I booked this gig for this. It was just one line in Chinese, the audition, and I can't read it. You can't. There's a difference between speaking Chinese and reading Chinese. There's no alphabet. My Asian brother, he knows. You have to memorize. It's like hieroglyphics, basically. You either know the character or you don't. You can't sound it out. There's no alphabet. So it's not like Japanese. Japanese has an alphabet. So this thing was in Chinese. I did the line because I asked my mom, how do you say this line? She did it for me. I read it. It's fine. Then I booked the gig and then got the script like at 5 p.m. The recording was at 9 a.m. And it's a paragraph of hieroglyphics. It's like literally, oh man, I couldn't even try to do it. It was like, I don't know, I was literally sweating and trying to sound cool when I was talking to you, Ralph. But I was like, I don't know if I can do this, Ralph. Are you sure? I should do this. But basically, I talked to my mom and she's like, I was like, what the whole song? I-N-G. What's the next one? Day, it's fine. D-A-Y, day. No, but not day. Day is different than day. It's like, it's literally, you say ma is like mom, ma is horse. Gotta mess this up, man. You're recording it. So basically, what happened when I was in that, he's just like, that's right. And so what happened was we went into the recording session. I was like sweating. I'm like trying to be cool because you're professional, and there was nobody in there that spoke Chinese. So I was like, guys, I'm just gonna take this line by line, and when it's good, I'll give you a thumbs up. I'll let you know it's good. And it literally sounded like I was speaking like this. This is the line. This is the line. This is the line. This is the line. Good. Next. So literally, hopefully when they Frankenstein this whole thing together, it's going to sound copacetic. But fingers crossed. So it's all phonetic. It was like literally phonetic. But I do speech as well.
We've had a lot of requests, several cards here, for Peter to say Schmoopy-Doo. Following up on that, if you wouldn't all mind saying your favourite line from your favourite character, I think everyone would love that.
Now that's how you run an errand.
Would you do the honors again?
Oh yeah.
Quiet!
Okay, Matilda. Oh, cranky! Oh.
Oh, man.
Cool story, bro.
That was in the latest one, the latest Equestrian Girl. I actually put that line in. It wasn't written. It was in. Because someone burned me on a story that I told at a bachelor party, and nobody said anything at the very end, and then one friend was like, cool story, bro. And I was like, oh, such a good burn. So I just threw it in for a flashback.
I got another one.
Please.
Can I?
Yes, certainly.
You're doomed.
So this is a fun question. We're going to end with it, I think. I'll make it a two-part question. I'd also like to ask you if you have any advice or questions for the audience, but that's the second part of the question. First part, what would your cutie mark be?
Personally?
Yes.
I just got this the other day. It's brand new, so I don't know if I can be.
Someone wanted to know actually who has the better hat, me or Pete and you. I think it's Pete and you, but yeah.
My cutie mark, I don't know. I guess it would probably be like a microphone and a glass of scotch or something.
I have an OC and she has a cutie mark, and it's a little paw print, a little heart. Those are little animals. That's my function. It's my favorite.
I don't know. I have no idea what mine would be. I seriously don't know. Because I'm like, what are my passions? They're like Disney stuff. Maybe Disney friends. But then that would be like copywritten. I don't know. Maybe like a smashed pumpkin. I have no idea. What about you, Bradley?
Well, I think for me, because y'all hear me say it all the time. Sugar, 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 baby, sugar. Give me some sugar. So it has to be something that has some sugar in there somewhere. Little sugar. You know, sweet.
Any final words of wisdom or advice or questions for the audience?
It's funny things we have wisdom and advice. That's funny.
I want to know if you guys are having a good time at the convention. So my wisdom would be keep that up.
Were some of you at the auction? Who was at the auction? How did we do? $12,000. Okay.
$12,310, which brings the total raised to about over $60,000 for St. Jude's over the last 4 years. Well, on that positive note, I would like to thank all of our wonderful guests for being here and
And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and feel free to contact me with any information you might have regarding the Nightmare Nights 2016 material. I'm also happy for any donations to my PayPal. Just message me and I'll be happy to send you that link. Wheel Trouble, signing off.